Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. I am your MC for the next 20 minutes and look forward to sharing with you a bit about our data challenge, why we do this data challenge. We're also going to present to you some of our exciting award winners from 2025. I think you'll find their solutions quite interesting. And then at the end, we have a few of our leaders in EY telling you about some of our programs that we do, AI for good and sustainability. So I'd like to start by asking Cameron Wall. Cam, where are you? There's Cam. He's going to come up and tell you a little bit about why we started this data challenge and why we want to continue.
Thanks, Brian.
Continue.
Hi, everybody. It's great to be here. My name's Cameron Wall. I lead the global AI and data practice for EY. If I go back to 2019, we acquired a firm and they had a data science challenge platform. We didn't really quite know what to do with it. And so at that time, we were tasked with how can we reuse this asset? Fast forward to the summer of that year, which is in the December-January period for me, being on the other side of the hemisphere. And we had the worst bushfires or wildfires that we'd seen for quite a while. And I have this indelible image in my head of koalas that were singed walking across the road. And I thought, we can use data for this. There's got to be a way to solve this. And so I thought, why don't we couple the power of this platform with sending it out there, putting some challenges out into the public and decentralising the problem and getting many people thinking about the same problem at once. The good news, if I fast forward, that challenge was done in 2020. The IP that was developed is actually used by bushfire authorities now, and it was used to detect the edge of the bushfire, which is hard to do using standard imagery from satellites, and also the trajectory of that fire. So that IP is now in use by fire authorities across the globe, which is just fantastic. But the top three reasons why we did this, one was to do something good, and we were thinking about AI for good back in 2019. I think I was slightly ahead of the curve, maybe slightly. The second was branding. It's a best kept secret that we've got over 14,000 people at the moment that do AI and data work on projects across industries, and also a way to attract and inspire some of the leading talent. Interestingly, the winners usually of these competitions aren't necessarily, and no offence, aren't necessarily the best technologists. They're the ones that think creatively. They think differently from the others, and they push harder usually. If you hear some of the stories, they work very, very hard on solving these challenges and think very creatively. And I think that's what you get from students these days who don't have the baggage of years of industry experience. But I'll hand back to Brian now. Thanks, Brian, and congratulations to all the winners.
Thanks, Cameron. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our data challenge for this year in 2025, but first I'd like to tell you what we've done for 5 years now. This is the 5th year we've done this challenge. It's a global challenge open to anybody. Well, we put some criteria. We'd like young professionals and people with a limited experience. In our external model, we do have an EY internal winner, and I'll be able to share with you who those teams are today. But since 2021, we've hit these 5 different topics, everything from fires that Cam mentioned to, we call this our frog challenge, frog biodiversity. And then we did Vietnam rice crop mapping, coastal resilience was a tropical storm damage, and this past year was urban heat islands. So a little bit about the number of participants that we have. Very popular challenge. I hope that all of you here today will take a look at this and get the word out, because we will have another one coming. 11,000 participants in this past year, and we've had almost 45,000 in the last 4 years. So pretty remarkable interest in all of this. Many countries and universities, and awarded over $150,000 worth of prize money. So we're excited to do this at EY. Our focus, as Cameron said, AI for good. We want to help solve sustainability topics and bring interest to all of these problems. So our topic for this year was urban heat islands. If you've ever walked through a warm city last year, we did our awards in Athens, Greece, and that was extremely hot. But if you walk through a center city, you know there are certain parts of that city that are exceptionally warm. And the reason being that you have dense urbanization of the building configurations, you have a lack of green space, a lack of water, and as well as waste heat coming from the buildings. All of this adds to this effect called urban heat islands. Well, how can we model that? Is it possible to bring data to that problem and understand where does it exist and what is the intensity? That's what this year's challenge was all about. This particular problem hits the worst populations, the ones that are the most income deprived and older adults and young children. These are the vulnerable populations that are most impacted by this problem. So you'll hear a bit from our winners today. They're going to tell you what was their solution all about, how did they tackle the problem. And I think I'm going to turn it over to, one last thing, I'll tell you about the data sets that we use. This year we used a data set from New York City. This was ground data that was collected by Kappa Strategies, where they march across the city and collect this data over time. It allows you to see at the ground level what the temperatures are. Now, if you couple that with satellite data, building configuration data, and any other open data set, we allow our participants to bring any open data set to the problem, bring all this together, and that's what the solution is that we evaluate. So we do leave it a bit open-ended in terms of what solutions are brought to the table, and you'll hear from our winners today. So the first group I'd like to bring to the stage, Deepak and Amit were our EY internal winners, and they're going to share with you. You can just hit next, go to the next chart. Take it away, and congratulations.
Thanks, Brian. So if you look at the approach that we have taken, like Brian mentioned, we looked at the satellite imagery in terms of two satellite data, predominantly Landsat and Sentinel. And what we found is the vegetation index on the right-hand side and the surface reflectivity along with the urban morphology, which has deep impact on the UHI. And as you know, the UHI problem is layered. Therefore, we also brought in additional data set in terms of the energy use for the buildings into the model. And the insights that we found was pretty interesting, because if you are not really efficient as a building, that means if you use more and more energy, then you kind of get into a vicious circle of contributing towards the UHI effect. So that was the insight that we got, and we used an algorithm called extra trees. Out of all the algorithms that you have, we found the best predictive power that we could bring to the table is through this. With that, I'll hand it over to Deepak to talk about the impact of the UHI model that we came up with.
Thanks, Amit. So a model is a model. It throws out features that has predictive power. It also throws out features that have actionable power. So the question is, apart from those predictive power features, what can you take out from these analyses that will help you move the needle in terms of alleviating the UHI impacts? So the couple of things that we found was, if you look at some of the data sets that we used, the building compactness in terms of how you structure the building in the sense that what kind of polygonal structure should they have, what is the direction that they should be facing so that the UHI effects are minimalized. Similarly, we looked at things like green cover. What happens if you have trees planted at the right places, what kind of impact that it would have on UHI, right? So this gives you a way to look at how do we enable city planners to take better quality decisions, right? Where should they set up cooling centers? We can also help real estate developers to think about how to design their buildings. What is the impact that their building designs have on UHI, even before it is constructed? So these are some of the insights that we got out of this model. And as a firm, we would love to work with and engage with government entities, NGOs, city planners worldwide. Because today, if you look at the composition of the landscape that we're looking at today, 530 plus cities with 10 million people worldwide are suffering from this problem. So it's not a small problem by any means, right? So with that said, I'll hand over to Brian.
So before they leave the stage, I'd like to congratulate both of you.
Thank you.
There you go. Fantastic work. And we'll hand it off to the next. Thanks again. So not only did they get a trip to Geneva to be part of this, but they also got a $10,000 reward. So fantastic work. Okay, let's move on to these are university students, University of Malaya. I'd like to introduce Sam and Han to come to the stage, and they were our university winners. 11,000 participants, the best of the best. All right, there you go. You just have one, right? You just have one chart.
Okay. Hello. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So we have seen an explosion of tools and applications designed to identify the urban heat hotspots. And honestly, we have gotten incredibly good at it. And we can now pinpoint the heat hotspots with a level of precision that was once unimaginable. However, while many of the solutions being implemented are doing their jobs, the reality is that the urban heat is increasing at a pace that our current efforts struggle to keep up with. Look at the New York City. For years, residents in Bronx and Manhattans have endured relentless and dangerous summer heat wave. The problem isn't a lack of data. We know exactly where the hotspots are. The problem is that the cycles continues years after years. This highlights our next great opportunity. We are a master in identifications, and now is the time to master the impact. The real challenge isn't knowing where the heat is the proving that what we do about it actually works in the real world.
Yes, and here's where our twin-track deployment strategy comes in. Despite using only the sample data sets provided by EY, our model is still able to achieve a world-class R-scale score of 98.34% with just 22 carefully engineered features. The true power of this approach does not lie in its complexity, but in an elegant simplicity. By isolating the most influential drivers of urban heat, we have created a powerful model that's both actionable and adaptable. With this, we can generate rich UHI maps layered with vital urban indicators such as tree cover to vulnerable populations. This will give the city planners pinpoint insights on where to intervene to have the maximum effect. And we don't stop here. Our strategy also includes simulations powered by a digital twin of the New York City. Before any physical investment is made, city planners can simulate them virtually and instantly visualize their impact on the urban heat islands. Since our models require minimal features, these simulations are remarkably agile and efficient. This means we can refine strategies, optimize investments, and ensure every dollar spent delivers the most cooling for the communities who need most, turning data into decision actions.
And we know this is only a small step. Still, we hope it paves the way for someone else to take their giant leap. Maybe next year, that someone will be you, leading the way in solving the global challenges. Together, let's build a better, cooler living world. Thank you.
Thank you. Here you go. Congratulations again. Thank you. All right. Congratulations again. I like their tagline, building a cooler living world. They really had a fantastic solution. It was really great to see their excitement about winning this challenge. Okay, next, Laura, all you. Tell us a little bit about the Ripples program at EY, which connects very nicely to what we do with the Data Challenge.
I'd be delighted to do that, Brian. First up, a huge congrats to the winners. Brilliant to see some of the propositions coming to life. Today, I'm just going to spend a minute or two giving you a brief overview of our AI for Good program. And it's really an important cornerstone of our global corporate responsibility program, EY Ripples, which aims to positively impact 1 billion lives. And we really believe that responsible AI has the potential to add speed, scale, and impact to the work that we do across our main focus areas. So you can see here we have a focus on looking at how we can upskill youth and underserved populations, how we can enable social innovation and impact entrepreneurship, and how we can also help accelerate solutions which combat climate change. And really, in doing so, we've created a portfolio of different initiatives and projects that harness our core competency, which is the skills, knowledge, and expertise of our people to give back. So this really comes to life through a variety of different ways, from pro bono consultancy engagements to skills sessions, coaching, mentoring, digital learning platforms, and more. And we also recognize that together we're stronger. So we're very keen on collaboration and work closely with our clients, tech alliances, nonprofit partners, and academia to really kind of accelerate our efforts. And it's wonderful to see a few familiar faces in the room today on that front. So just to bring to life a couple of project examples, on the right-hand side, you can see our AI Skills Passport. This is an immersive learning experience we've co-created with Microsoft, tailored at young people 16 plus, which really kind of gives them a fundamental understanding on EY or on AI, as well as gateways to employability. So it's a 10-hour learning experience. It provides certification, and we've now scaled that through to 27 countries, and we're hoping to go bigger and bolder in more languages as well. And on another of our signature programs is the AI Skills Lab. These are workshop experiences which we deliver in person or virtually by EY people, and they're targeted at impact organizations, so social enterprises or nonprofits. And really the objective with those is to help smaller organizations understand how AI can drive operational efficiencies within their organization. So that's, again, something that we're really excited about to bring to a wider audience. So very brief, as I mentioned, but would love to continue the conversation. So please do reach out if you'd like to learn more. And I believe I'm handing back to Brian. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Laura. Next to the stage will be Sarah. Sarah will tell you about the EY sustainability problem. Sarah Lewin, take it away.
Thanks, Brian. Hi, everybody. Well, I'm going to start with something that's not going to be lost on this audience and just take a moment to acknowledge just how seismic the forces of AI and sustainability both are and the impact that they're having on businesses, economies, and societies at the moment. We all know that the opportunities and the challenges are immense, and the pace of change is utterly unprecedented. So we're really starting to focus on the convergence of those two seismic forces and start to think about how we can drive impact, and that impact being both scalable, inclusive, and trusted. The Data Science Challenge is an absolute embodiment of that approach. But it's also a great demonstration of how, at EY, sustainability really sits at the heart of our business. It's core to the corporate strategy. So the sustainability approach, like our Data Science Challenge, is anchored in science, but it's also about harnessing tech and data to drive meaningful impact. And we start to think about impact in 3 dimensions. So Laura's just been up here talking about the phenomenal work that our corporate responsibility practice does, and our Ripples program, all around driving our own impact that we have as a business. So we start to see things like, as Laura said, our target of impacting 1 billion lives by 2030. And then from an environmental perspective, having driven down 40% of emissions against an FY19 baseline, while still achieving a 41% growth in revenue. The second point around our the way that we can drive impact is the impact that we have through the work that we do with our clients. We're a 450,000 person business working with clients across every geography and industry that you can think of. We also, though, have one of the leading sustainability practices in the market, 4,000 plus dedicated sustainability and climate change experts. Their work is incredible and sits really at the heart of what we do to drive impact in this area. And then the last way, as Laura said, at EY, we are an ecosystem business. We have, as we said, a massive opportunity to put our brand, to leverage our ecosystem in service of climate and nature goals. And we do that and try and shape business, the impact that business has more broadly through collaborations across sectors, across geographies, and across both the public and private sector. We've got loads of examples there. If anybody wants to have a chat about any of them afterwards, then let me know. But thank you very much for this opportunity, and a massive shout out to the winners here. We are so proud of you and the work that the team does. Thank you.
Thanks again.
Oh, I'll give this. You don't need it.
Thanks again. So just to wrap up, again, congratulations to our winners. We're very excited that we were able to do this challenge for the 5th time. Now, what's coming in the future? We do want to do another challenge. So number 6 is coming your way in the coming year. We're just now starting that process of where are we going to go with this? What are the data sets going to look like? And how are we going to formulate next year's challenge? Please check out our challenge and come visit challenge.ey.com or scan the code here and you can find it. Our team will be here in the next couple of days, so feel free to come and talk more about the challenge and what we do. We'd love for you to spread the word. Tell anybody out there that might be interested. Again, targeted towards young professionals with 5 years or less experience, which is typically university students, but can also be someone that's just new in the workplace. We want to inspire the younger generation to use AI, machine learning, to touch these data sets, to try to solve a sustainability problem and to become involved in solving a really important global issue. So thanks again for your time today, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.